All right, appreciate everybody coming out. Obviously, a bonus day here in our kind of preparation for our Week 1 opponent, the Green Bay Packers. Big week for our team. Continuing to progress with a lot of guys towards game day, and we'll keep you guys posted on Wednesday as far as the official report. We're going to see a lot of our guys that either have had little things pop up over the last week or so. Get them out on the field today, see where they're at before we officially kind of update their statuses. Wanted to update you guys. Had our team vote 4 captains last week. Unbelievable, process to see 20 players receive votes. I mean, that's across offense, defense, and special teams. That's something that I don't know if I've been around, quite honestly, to have that kind of view of our team from their teammates. But we have 4 offensive captains. Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, Brian O'Neill, and Adam Thielen. 3 defensive captains in Eric Kendricks, Harrison Smith, and Patrick Peterson. And then we have a special teams captain that also received some offensive votes in C.J. Ham. Feel really, really good about not only that group, but as I mentioned, 20 players, and those are just the 8 of them that received the most votes, but 20 players and guys really receiving chunks of votes that show that they've had a huge impact on our team. We'll keep, actually adding a few names to our leadership council that we have that I meet with every week, and just really excited about that. But those guys have earned it from day one. Be great to have those guys wearing the C on their jerseys for our first game.
What was that process like? It sounds like you guys take it to a new level in terms of arriving at your captains.
Yeah, I've told our team from day one we would do it, when our roster, got cut down and we had our practice squad guys back, just allow them to vote. That vote is done in a way where, very few people know about it but me, but at the same time, just looking at some of the numbers, I mean, some of the guys that received almost unanimous votes, and then some guys that maybe, even as the head coach, and I feel like I'm pretty in tune with things, you start hearing, well, maybe we have a larger pool of leaders than even I thought. And I've told you guys from day one, I felt like that's been one of the best things about this job is the leadership of this team that I've inherited. So cool process, really fun to tell the team that, late last week. And we'll rely on a lot on those guys moving forward.
What will you use that leadership council for over the course of the season?
Very similar, Kevin, to kind of what we've done throughout the whole offseason and little things as simple as, meals and when they can have their impact on scheduling, when they can have their impact on, when we want to have our full padded practices or not, based upon what we think is best. But I think it's a lot of times what I've learned is, you lay out a plan with our whole team, you tell them why we're going to do things, and they're all in from the jump. But I'll use that leadership group together in addition to those 8 captains to really allow them to gauge the pulse of our team throughout the season. Sometimes you get so wrapped up in X's and O's and individual sides of the ball that, I need to make sure I remember that the most important thing in my role is our team and our players, and no better way to stay connected to those guys than that group. You know what? I can go ahead and say it. You know what? I'm not going to go ahead and say it. I think that's it's important to know that every single one of those captains received a huge amount of vote. But I will say there were a couple guys that were outside of what I believe to be their own ballots. They were unanimous in being elected captains. There you go. You see myself? I caught myself right there. But no, it is, as you guys can tell, it's something I take. I take it seriously. I think it's really important. And 8 is the max you're allowed. Otherwise, I probably might have had more, to be honest with you, after seeing the vote.
Kevin, I know you're going to look at guys today and then Wednesday for injury report, but has anything happened up until now that make you think that the Irv Smith original timetable is not going to be fulfilled?
No, nothing has happened. If anything, I feel as confident as ever that we'll have him. Obviously, we'll go through the practice week this week, and barring any setbacks, we hope to have Irv on Sunday.
How fired up is Darius Smith going against his old team, and how excited are you seeing him out there on the field in an actual game for the first time?
Yeah, I think he's fired up. I know he has so much respect for that coaching staff and so many teammates that they had a lot of success together, both Chandon as well and Z. guys that have played a lot of snaps for that defense over the last few years and had a lot of success. So I know I'd like to think each and every week's going to be important to those guys, and but I'd be lying if I said that I didn't expect them to be that much more dialed in, that much more focused this week, knowing that they want to get off to a great start against their former team. But it's going to be a heck of a challenge. This is a really good football team, and they know that.
You've been involved in a lot of rivalry games by the nature of what you've done. What do you hear about Minnesota-Green Bay? Is there anything unique about it? Does it sound like the 49ers and Rams? What's it sound like?
Yeah, I can just tell you turning on the tape, there's a level of physicality there. It seems to be, I think back to the games in Minnesota, it's back and forth, all the way through the end of the game. And, hoping that our group's prepared, feels like they can go out there, play fast, feel like they can go execute. But we know, there's a good chance that this game's going to come down to the very end. Got a ton of respect for so many players on their roster. Like I said, the coaches. We gotta have a good showing. We gotta go out, be prepared, and be ready to roll with a really good team coming in like the Green Bay Packers. I know that. I know with any rivalry game, it comes down a lot of times to the little things, the execution, the detail, and sometimes the emotion of it. You don't want to let it get the best of you or your team, and it comes down to how you're going to win the football game, how you think, and what you think it's going to take to win the football game, and we'll work through that this week.
Kevin, how much of the game plan process for this one started early versus how much of it will happen kind of in a normal 7-day time frame?
Yeah, I think it's important to use the time that we have. We're very much into that preparation and some things that we're taking a look at on the practice field. Kind of checks and balances to see kind of what we really like, what we maybe want to tweak, things that we've done in training camp that maybe we've gotten a lot of reps logged on that maybe we can make subtle adjustments to, so it still feels somewhat normal to our players. And then ultimately there's going to be some game plan things come up every week that I think that are really important that we spend our time on, but at the same time we want to stay true to our foundation and kind of how we want to play each and every week from our football philosophy in all three phases. But it's a balance of both, right? You don't want to let the week get stale by putting the plan in too soon, but at the same time you don't want to not take advantage of this extra time and overload the guys late. So it's a balance. It's a good question, and it's something we've spent a lot of time talking about, and I feel like we've got a good plan.
First real game week for you as head coach, what are you sort of prioritizing, kind of re-listening to? What's kind of going into that for you?
Yeah, I think it's just making sure we're organized, making sure we understand the process of that week and what's important for us to make sure we get accomplished, just from a standpoint of repetition and time on task on the things that I believe are going to play a real role in who wins the football game. But at the same time, myself personally, I'm excited. I'm excited to get to US Bank Stadium on Sunday and just feel that energy. I already feel it, within the Twin Cities. We gave the guys a little bit of time off this weekend, and you don't have to be out and about long to know that people are excited about this team and excited about obviously this game to start it all off. But at the same time, I'm a big routine guy, and with the extra time, that's great. But I'm trying to lock in on what every week's going to be like for me, not only in this role, but as the play caller and making sure I'm at my best for the group.
On Greg Joseph, the way he's kicking the ball distance-wise, do you think about maybe extending his range out a little bit and what you might try this year at all, or anything?
I think you have to, and I think that's a really good question. We'll look at it from a kind of an analytics standpoint every single week of what the data tells us, but then data can tell you a lot of things. All I know is when he hits the ball right now, it sounds really good. Normally it's going through the uprights, and I have so much confidence in him. Our team does, and I think it's just a matter of on that particular drive, do we want to go for it in that area of the field? Do we want to try to pin our opponent deep and try to flip the field and get the ball back and play the field position game? Or are points as valuable as they are a lot of times? And when you've got confidence in that guy like I do in Greg, I think we can be aggressive trying to put points on the board anytime we really cross the 50, and that's going to be the mindset.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.